What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Tech Solutions. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. My name's Ricky. If you guys don't know who it is that I am, feel free to browse around my YouTube channel. I have a little bit over 120,000 subscribers, a little bit over 125,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have a little bit over 90,000 members within my free networking platform. So if you ever if you like surrounding yourself or you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, be sure to click that third link in the description. We have a free Facebook group, and then once you get accepted, on the top pinned post, there is a private group chat link that is also free. I've grown this network for a little bit over 1 year and, a little bit over 90,000 members. I truly think that the reason that our group has grown at such a rapid pace is because we provide quality information. We do not tell people where to buy, where to sell. So if you're someone that wants to be spoon-fed, this is not going to be the group for you. But if you're someone that's motivated and likes to network with other people that are doing well and wants to learn how it is that other people experience success, then we would love to have you as a part of our team. So as you guys can see on where is it? Right here on this hand side, you guys can see that there's a couple people joining us live. So I'm going to say what's up to some of them, but if you ever want to join us live, just be sure to click that subscribe button, turn on that little bell, and that will notify you anytime that I go live. So we got Zorako, what's going on? What's going on? Bill, Millennial Motivation, Entrepreneurial, I like it, binary number. Speak slow, buddy. Man, I know I speak too quickly sometimes. Well, that's what people say that I do, right? I don't hear it that I'm speaking that quick. I'm just usually super excited about what I tend to talk about. So look, as you guys can see, there's a couple people joining it. What's going on, team? Hope you guys are all having a beautiful Sunday. It's definitely a nice Sunday on my part, and as you guys can imagine why, we got some canes right by the side. I've been working. We've been on meetings. Just had our friend Ella over. If you guys follow me on Instagram, the link is down below. We're talking about a series of videos that we wanted to film together and stuff like that. Amazing girl, super motivated. She does so many different things on the side, and I'm just truly blessed to be able to have her as a part of the the members and the team for Learn Plan Profit. So if you guys haven't already, the first link in the description is like the Learn Plan Profit group. We'll talk about that later, but I'll touch base on that. So this video is our Sunday stock talk. This is when me and my community, right, our team comes together and we talk about the top stocks that we see value in this week. As you guys can see, this video only says 3 stocks. The reason that I say that is I encourage you to be very micro-focused. I'm just going to be talking about the stocks and the patterns that I see, and that's what I want you guys to focus on, the patterns, not the actual stocks themselves. And the reason that I feel like the stocks can become the patterns, learning how to understand patterns is so important, is because if you focus on the stock that I'm investing in, then it might be relevant to where it is right now, right? But if we focus on overall patterns, and you actually have an understanding and understand the concept that I choose to take advantage of, like the patterns that I look for and why I choose to take advantage of those set opportunities, then you can use that concept and that eye for value and reflect that and use that concept for the multiple stocks that are in your watch list, and then you can take advantage of those stocks that then you see value in. And that's what I teach in the Learn Plan Profit group. So I work with this group every single day, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we got White Hawk saying whiskey boys. What's going on, man? So so you guys are funny. We got Steven Scholl. You read my mind. So you guys are calling out a couple stocks that I am going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be keeping it very simple. I'm going to talk about the stock. I'm going to talk about the patterns, why it is that I see value in. Again, these are not any stock recommendations. These are the ones that I see value in, and you should never invest based on other people's opinion. But I hope that my breakdown and my whole thought process on why it is that I see value in it can resonate well with you, and then you could use that same concept and implement that into any breakdowns that you choose to do later within the future. One thing that I do want to recommend for every person watching this video, right? Every single person. If you guys have watched any of my videos this week, it's been so focused on structure. And I want to remind you guys, every single week, something that has worked out so well for us on a consistent basis, especially within those that are part of the Learn Plan Profit group, is that we stay very niche focused on the stocks that we see value in. So invest 15 to 30 minutes, even after this video, and go through your entire watch list if you can, and pick 1 or 2 stocks that are actively trending up, that is going to get you to your weekly percentage growth goal. 1 or 2 stocks. Don't overwhelm yourself. If your watch list has like 10 to 15 stocks, that's very difficult to take advantage of, right? To make sense of. So become very micro-focused. Pick 1 or 2 stocks that's actively trending up, showing signs of either, whatever your goal is, 5, 10%, anything like that. And when it comes down to, what's going on, Danny? Thank you for the donation. The next cane is on me. Keep up the quality content. Oh, appreciate that, man. I always take forms of payment in canes. So, but yeah, I just want to remind you guys that structure is very important, and to make sure that you stay very micro focused. You should not be trading based on other people's opinion. You should be planning out your trade. This is every member that's part of Learn Plan Profit. I hope you guys know that this is a requirement for each and every single one of you, that you have to post your top 1 or 2 stocks under the group alert section and share your idea. So your entry, your exit, your stop loss, and why it is that you see value. It is a requirement for every single member. If you want me to break down a stock for you and you don't have your stock broken down in group alerts, then I will not break it down for you. It does not matter if you are part of the Learn Plan Profit group, but if you're not taking time out of your day and doing your own due diligence, then I'm not here to spoon feed you, right? I'm here to assist you and guide you in the right direction, and that's the value that I want to instill in each and every single one of you. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to be answering a couple questions in just a bit, but let me go ahead and get to my breakdown for about 5 minutes in, about 6 minutes in, and I want to start breaking down stocks, and let's go from there. So I talk too much, huh? Gee willikers. Boom, boom, boom. Don't. Here we go. There we go. All right. So one of these stocks that has been actively trending up. I'm just going to get straight to it. So I'm going to talk about ticker symbol Ford. It's a very simple pattern, and this is what it's not about always trading the most volatile or actively aggressive stocks, right? The ones that experience 50 to 30%, 50 to maybe 100% growth. Why is that? Well, ask yourself. For all those traders that trade super low cap stocks that are extremely volatile and they want to grow their account, do they usually tend to grow their account? You know, they might have 1 or 2 good days, right, throughout almost the entire month. But on a consistent basis, at least with my approach, I have seen so many more people within our private group and overall TechBud Solutions experience more consistent success when they trade patterns that are actively trending up and when they understand the patterns. So this is Ford, a multi-billion-dollar company, right? It had a huge sell-off due to its earnings, right? Once that catalyst for its earnings started to die out, it really started to consolidate. And if you guys have watched any of our Sunday stock talks for the past month, what have we said? Waiting for the break above 11, waiting for the break above 11. If you're part of the Learn Plan Profit group, you would have seen that this is one that we called out after it broke above 11. Why? Well, if you can see here, it's now actively trending up above the 180-day EMA, but not only that, it broke above the resistance once, twice, that it has not been able to break above. So it broke above that, and it's holding above that, and every time that it pulls back, because pullbacks are inevitable, right? They're going to happen, but it's as long as it continues this uptrend pattern. So let me tell you how I would trade this, right? You can see that it's actively trending up, slight resistance right around, this $11, like $25 price point. That's fine. One thing that we want to see is as it continues to push up, and let's say it breaks above 11.25, it might push up to about 11.50. And then when there's a pullback, we want to make sure that it continues this uptrend pattern. So you see this ascending uptrend pattern, this EMA line, how even when it pushes up but it pulls back, it continues to hold. It continues to hold above this EMA line. That's what we want to continue to see. If you want your account to continue to grow, then you need to make sure that what it is that you're investing in is actively growing, right? So the pattern of the charts themselves will reflect the overall, most of the time, will reflect the overall growth of your account or the pattern of your brokerage account as well. So wouldn't it make sense if you want to make money, to grow your account, to invest in stocks that are actively growing? It's hilarious when some people are like, hey, I want to invest in TOPS. You can't even see the candles because it's decayed so much. You can't. You would have to go even on a 10-day not 10-day analysis. Well, that's actually pretty solid growth. But again, it doesn't last for a very long period of time. And unfortunately, for those for those that are just getting started, because this is so volatile, right? It's pushed up from 13 cents all the way up to 22 cents, and then it's on its way back down. It's pretty aggressive, and unfortunately, when you don't know how to identify if it's a good buy or if it's a good sell, then sometimes, or majority of the time, people end up, or investors end up, taking a loss on these lower cap stocks. Although they think that with higher risk comes higher reward, that is true. But again, with higher risk comes higher reward. And if you're just getting started, you already want to discourage yourself by making, easy, avoidable mistakes by not even having to touch those. Why not really develop your eye for value, learn how to understand patterns, entry points, exit points, and then once you kind of get the system down and you can see that you can grow your account on a consistent basis, then make the transition, if you feel comfortable, to lower cap stocks if you understand those enough and if you can take advantage of those set opportunities enough. But if not, then you could always go back to being able to grow your account on a consistent basis. Shout out to my little sister, almost grew her account 50% with the Robinhood platform within 1 month. Week after week. My goal is 10 to 15%. Last week, I closed the week a little bit over $2,100 profit. Am I doing anything special? That's a little bit over 10%. Am I doing anything like ridiculous? No, I'm consistently investing in stocks and ETFs that make sense to me. Just like this, let's do the breakdown. $11 support, resistance is at $12. That makes sense, right? So from $11 to $12, the potential for profit is 9%. That is, some people's percentage growth goal on a weekly basis is 5%. Some people are 3% if you want to continuously grow your account. How nice would it be able to hit your weekly target by only having to take one position? Again, quality versus quantity. So from that, $11 support to that $12 resistance. Why is $12 a resistance? Well, you could see here that when it pushed above $12 and it pulled back, it really started to consolidate and hold above $12. That makes sense, right? And when it pushed up, hit highs of $13.50, it got rejected. And do you see this consolidation that it did here? So right around that $12 price point. So old supports become new resistance levels. Very simple and basic pattern. If you guys don't understand patterns enough, then you might want to review a couple of those videos that I have on YouTube. Or if you're part of the Learn Plan Profit course, again, the first link in the description, then you want to review those course videos as well. But yeah, it's actively trending up. We want to make sure that it continues that uptrend ongoing pattern. The thing that I really like about this as well is that this SMA line was acting or having a peak formation. But now that we broke above it, what I think is going to happen, do you see kind of like this peak that you can see right here? After it builds a peak, it builds this cup formation, and then it uplifts, right, the overall candles. It starts to act as a support. And then it's when it catches and peaks out again, and then when the candles break below, that it shows more of like a bear flag or a bear pattern rather than a bull pattern. Right now it's showing more of a bull pattern. It's trending above the EMA and the SMA on the 180-day 4-hour chart. If you guys don't know my indicators and how they're set up, my moving average exponential set at a length of 15, and my simple moving average is set at a length of 180. So that's my breakdown on that. Let's see. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Ricky, when's your album coming out? What's going on, Antonio? You're funny, man. I want to, okay, let me talk about one other stock that I think is going to bounce, that I think that might have potential this week. I want to talk about the risk. This is going to be a little bit of a riskier stock. So this is Overstock.com, had amazing growth, right? You see this SMA indicator? It was acting as a support nonstop. Do you guys see this? Nonstop. Ascending uptrend pattern. We talk about this all the time. It started showing a lot of consolidation, right? And then it started showing signs of a downtrend. It broke below the EMA and the SMA, and it's showing signs of this bear flag pattern. It's trending down. Do you see this? It's showing signs of a peak formation. Look at this. Look at this. If this pattern were to continue, it shows that it was most likely going to continue to descend, right? Continue to downtrend. So how is it that you can still profit off of something that's trending down? Well, when it has really aggressive sell-offs, especially due to its earnings, right? Then one thing that can happen is that it has these like bounces. It's most likely still going to get rejected by this SMA indicator as it's been rejected before, but because it's been so oversold, do you see this RSI indicator? You could expect somewhat of a bounce. Where is that bounce going to be? Well, based on old support levels, you might see a resistance right around $50. You might see it a little bit closer to 55 to 60, depending on where that SMA indicator is at. I just want you guys to understand one thing. It is a descending pattern, so there's a higher risk with this one, right? Higher risk, but also higher reward. So let's say with the overall support at $40 and the overall resistance, let's be a little conservative, and let's say about $55 is where it ends up peaking out at. That potential profit from $40 to $55 is 36.54% potential profit. That's pretty huge, right? Let's say you're investing with $1,000. That's $360 with just one trade. That's huge account growth. $10,000, that's $3,654. With $20,000, that's what is that? That's like $7,200 and I don't know, $12. I don't know. But I'm just talking about huge account growth. And again, with higher risk comes higher reward. Overstock, obviously being a very well-known online company, I want to talk about the pattern. It's showing signs of a descending pattern, but as it descends, it's showing these descending support levels. Do you see this? And what I'm waiting for is the break above. You see how close it is right now to this 180-day EMA? I don't want to buy now and then it get rejected, so it still gets held below the EMA and then it continues to descend. That's a very common pattern, and I'm not going to take a position on until I see the candles hold above the EMA indicator. So right around like maybe $48, I'll be a little conservative. I can sell at around 55, right? So that's about 14% potential profit. Why am I saying 55? Well, you see this previous support level that it had here when I had a sell-off and it bounced here, or I did a lot of consolidation right around 55. That's where I'm getting that number. So around 50 to 55, I'm just talking about, the MACD indicator starting to curve back in, RSI starting to curve back in. The overall pattern is showing signs of a potential bounce that the percentage potential for profit, I think, outweighs the percentage potential for loss. But as long as you understand that this is a descending pattern, that all of a sudden if it starts to tank, this most likely, based on my understanding, would not be something that I would want to hold on to. Also, you can see that it's based on previous patterns, it's had a very strong support level right around $40. So that's huge, right? That's huge that it has a support level at $40, and it's much stronger than any other support that it's had while it's been descending. So this might be where it reverses. This might be, it might not get rejected by the SMA indicator, but I'm not going to go based off of what I hope happens. I'm going based off of worst case scenario, and that's it getting rejected by that SMA indicator. So I'm trying to be conservative. All I wanted to talk about, OSTK and that descending pattern, but with that potential for profit. Now, let me see what you guys are saying real quick. Jacobs is saying, I like that. I was heavily contemplating buying after the ER price drop. Yep, that's nice. That's nice. Let's see. Whoa. Sorry about that. What's that green line again, and where are your studies? So I have a video on all this. That green line is the SMA indicator, so simple moving average. All right, so let me get to the last one, and appreciate that. So TTM Trades, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Oh, what's going on, Ryan? Welcome to the trading community. He's like, new trader, love the advice, learning a lot. Thank you, thank you. And that is exactly what I want to talk about. Troy, great question. So there is these patterns that we've been following with just natural gas, with these oil-based ETFs, and with these gold-based ETFs. Instead of having me talking about one specific ETF, because there's a bunch of inverses, I'm going to talk about all three, the ones that I trade. So not all three, but the ones that I mainly trade. That's gold, natural gas, and oil. And I'm going to talk about how I use the futures to see the patterns for the ETF itself, and that's going to be my third pick. I didn't want to, so I hope you guys are okay with that. I'm going to go through a good number of ETFs. I'm going to talk about the patterns, and again, just focus on that and not the ETFs themselves. If I choose to take a position on something, that 100% does not mean you should as well, especially if you don't see value in it. So let's talk about, and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit in one of these, because some of these patterns are at a critical point, and I'll explain what that is. So let's look at ticker symbol GUSH. GUSH is showing signs of, we've talked about this multiple times. It was one of my top trades for this week. And as you guys can see, it has a support level based on previous patterns. You see how it continues to bounce at this price point, this red line, that's $24. Old support levels become new resistance levels. It was showing this upward staircase pattern. Do you guys see this? Boom, 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 boom. Continues to get rejected by $24. It makes sense. Now, it had a sell-off, and it bounced right around $22. It's really where it tried to hold above. MACD indicator starting to signal back a buy, so that's great. And then I had a bunch of people ask me, hey, is it time to buy GUSH yet? Our Learn Plan Profit group did an amazing job being able to take advantage of this one. Let's look at this. So I'm going to go to the Flex Grid, and we're going to go to /CL, and we're going to go to GUSH. So as you guys can see right here, so 180-day, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go to the 90-day 1 hour and 90-day 1 hour. You guys can see this is more of a descending pattern. So this one goes into correlation to the similar pattern, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just make sure. Pretty much, let's see. Because it's the inverse of GUSH is drip, right? So let's see if it loads. Boom. Yeah, so as you guys can see right here, well, no, this is actually showing, my goodness, this one's whacked up. It's all over the place. Let me just make sure. So you can see that overall /CL has been showing a consistent sign of an uptrend pattern, but it's also been showing a lot of consolidation, trying to hold above $60, right? It showed this random pop. It was showing signs of this descending pattern, right? and it looked like it was continuously being held below with that SMA indicator, right? This SMA indicator, do you see this? It was acting as a resistance. Every time that it peaked out, it didn't really hold very well. It always started showing signs of a continuous downtrend, but this might have been broken, as you guys can see right here. And this was during, after the market closed and stuff like that over the weekend, as these can still trade. It had a random pop, right? As you can see, the MACD indicator was starting to curve back in, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 right? It started popping up. So because of that, and I'm pretty sure the inverse, or the one that's directly correlated to this, and it's not exactly, but it would be ticker symbol GUSH, if I'm not mistaken. So, or GUSH itself. GUSH was showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It just was always getting rejected by $24. Always, always, always. It wasn't able to hold above it. It was showing signs of this upward staircase pattern. But what really turned me off about GUSH was this peak formation. Do you see this SMA indicator? It was acting as a peak. Usually, if this SMA indicator was coming up or trending down from here and building more of a cup formation, I would be a little bit more encouraged to invest in GUSH. But because when GUSH was showing signs of an ascending uptrend, do you see how it was bouncing on this SMA indicator? It was acting as support. Do you see all this consolidation on this green line? Do you see all this support? But when the candles are below, it acts as a resistance. Do you see how it was showing signs? It was acting as a resistance here, continuously getting rejected. Then it broke above and acted as a support. Well, because it's showing signs of a peak formation, it's going to be most likely acting as a resistance. And I didn't like that. And when I looked at the inverse, which is DRIP, do you see how this was building more of a cup formation, right? It was acting as a resistance as it was descending, but then now it was showing signs of potential support level. But that's why, again, I call these critical points. When they're so close to either be support or resistance levels or show signs of reversals, right? Now DRIP, if the market opens the way that /CL is performing, then we might see a sudden drop on DRIP. Same thing with ticker symbol GUSH. We might see a sudden pop, right, above $24. So I wanted to talk about the overall pattern. GUSH is showing signs with the overall pattern of an ascending uptrend pattern, but I don't like the SMA indicator, which is acting as a resistance. I just want to share that with you. It's showing signs of an uptrend pattern with the candles themselves, but the SMA indicator and how it's been trending is showing more of a peak formation. Now, when it comes up to DRIP, showing signs of a potential support, right, with this cup pattern, but overall a descending pattern with the candles. So they're kind of contradicting themselves. Do you see what I mean? Same thing is kind of happening with DGAS and UGAS. So DGAS was showing signs of this descending pattern and a potential cup formation. Do you see this? And it showed signs of a potential bounce. But with UGAS, UGAS was showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern, but with this like strong decay with this SMA indicator acting as a resistance. Do you see this? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Boom, 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 boom. So as a solid resistance, it popped up, but it couldn't hold above. Now, UGAS, the thing that I like about this one is / what is that? NG. So it's natural gas. The thing that confused me about this is that / NG was showing signs of this cup formation. So wait a minute. Natural gas, which is, if we look at the overall pattern, so flex grid, so / NG and UGAS, you can see that the patterns pretty much mirror one another, right? Or they show very similar patterns. So let's do 20 days. So as you can see here, I mean, it shows a very consistent similar pattern. Even if we go on the 180-day chart, you guys can see here on the 180-day chart, you could show that it shows a very similar pattern. Peak, peak, descend, descend pattern, ascending uptrend pattern, ascending uptrend pattern, a little bit of pullback, a little bit of pullback. But again, let's go back and review. What the heck? Descending pattern, peak formation. But when you go to natural gas, it's showing signs of a potential cup formation with this SMA indicator. And that's why I chose to invest in natural gas on Friday. That's why I saw this potential bounce. Although, the MACD indicator is starting to point up. The RSI indicator, this is a huge gamble that I was taking because the candles are showing signs of a descending pattern, but the SMA and the overall pattern is showing signs, the future itself is showing signs of a support level. So it shows of a potential bounce. But the mistake that I made here is that it was actively trending down below the 180-day EMA. And why is that bad? Well, that's a descending pattern, and it was continuously getting rejected by the 180-day 4-hour EMA indicator. What do I mean by that? Okay, so you get natural gas was trending up, right? Just like you guys. It hit highs of 280, which if you guys review our Sunday stock talk, that is exactly the price point that I called out that was going to be the resistance. How did I know that? Am I a magician? Am I a wizard? No, I look at patterns and previous support levels act as new resistance levels. Nothing fancy, just patterns. But one thing that I did notice is that when it was getting rejected, it would bounce on this SMA line. Do you see how it really started to consolidate there? It pushed up, pulled back, bounced here, but also keep a close eye here. It bounced here as a support, but the 180-day, 4-hour EMA, exponential moving average, was acting as a resistance. And because of that, I saw it get rejected, and it started to push up, really consolidate, and now we're either going to see one of two things. We're either going to see a break above the 180-day, or confirm that downward pattern and get rejected, and then it's most likely going to continue to trend down. So I just wanted to talk about, how and why I thought you guys was going to go up, not just because I thought so, but because it made sense based on the patterns that the futures were reflecting. Let's see. Possibly Ricky's first trade. No, no, no. Sir Vid Games is saying he is lying. He is a wizard. So Sean is saying, Ricky, I'm afraid of holding positions overnight and gaps. How do you sleep at night? So, and that's something that I would, really encourage you guys to do is like once you guys become very confident in the patterns that you see and the overall like just potential that these stocks have to offer, especially if they're actively trending up on the 180-day chart, so long term, not just for 1 or 2 days, then I truly like, well, when I say, year to date, I have not closed one red position. But don't get me wrong, I've been red. And not only have I been red maybe a couple $100, a couple $1,000. But because of how I trade and how I swing trade and my position size, I have talked about my position size multiple times before. I've made a video about 3-4 days ago. Watch it if you haven't already. I talk about how I view patterns, the patience that you have to have in understanding the patterns, and I don't cut losses unless there's a break of pattern. And I tend to focus on a lot of stocks and ETFs that are actively trending up, and that's what I truly believe, that has led to my success. I don't trade based on other people's opinion. I don't let others influence what I understand. I'm here to share ideas and to gather information from others, but I am the reason that I take position. So there was someone that brought up you guys, and that's why I took the original position on Friday. But if I end up losing, let's say I end up losing $10,000 off of that, am I going to blame him? No. I am the investor. I worked hard for my money, and I am going to be the decision maker on what I invest in. Based on what he called out, that's one thing, but I should have a set understanding of filters or criteria that every stock and ETF has to meet before I take a position. And I did my due diligence, and I broke it down, and I just explained to you why I saw value in you guys, and that's why I invested in you guys. So networking is the power of sharing ideas, but it's you as the investor and as the hardworking entrepreneur to make sure that you only take positions for those that you understand and not just because so-and-so said so. So let that be a huge goal for yourself. If someone tells you to trade, you should 100% have a red flag that goes on and be like, nope, I'm not going to trade based on your opinion. But if someone, shares an idea with you, like, thank you for the exposure. I'll do my due diligence and I'll get back to you on what it is that I think about that. That's the power of networking. So there's my little rant. And let's talk about JDST and JNUG. So JDST and JNUG, let's look at the future first, right? Or overall, JDST, congratulations to all those that were able to trade this one with us. I called out the overall cup formation, this ascending uptrend pattern. It ended up hitting and breaking $60. Congrats to all of you. It's showing signs still of an ascending uptrend pattern, holding above the 180-day 4-hour EMA and the SMA indicator as well. It's showing signs of a continuous uptrend pattern. Let's look at /GC. So if we look at /GC, this is gold futures. And again, what I called out last time, this SMA indicator acting as a resistance and continuously rejecting this. Guys, I think I might be a wizard though, because I am calling these patterns out pretty solid. I'm just totally kidding, but I'm not lying. You guys can watch any of my previous videos, and I've been calling out all these patterns. Is it because I know absolutely everything? No, I become obsessed with truly making sure that I understand worst case scenario, what can happen and what most likely will happen. and I use everything to leverage that. I use certain indicators. I use the overall patterns on the 180-day chart, and I can see that it's a solid descending pattern. This is for the gold futures, which directly is correlated to JNUG. JNUG is showing signs of a continuous downward pattern, showing a strong decay. A lot of ETFs do this. But if you look at JDST, which is the inverse, so it does the opposite of what forward slash does, then it's showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. So it would make sense on, while forward slash GC is showing signs of a continuous downward pattern. You see that it continues to make new lows. This is that support line that I had here. And it's showing potential for this thing to continue to trend down. So there's with that itself, it's giving me an idea that, hey, JDST might have a lot of upside potential, 65, maybe 70, based on that pattern and that understanding as well. So that's kind of my own 2 cents. JDST is still actively trending up, and I like to invest in stocks and ETFs that are actively trending up. So I'm focusing my attention on that. I think that for this upcoming week, forward slash GC can make new lows. I think if it breaks 310, then it could head to 300, which would be new lows. And if it does end up doing that, then that could send JDST, if this pattern completes itself, it can send it to 65, if not 70. So let's talk about potential profit. Let's say we're able to catch JDST at the bounce. So when it pulls back, at the bounce at around $58, right? As it continues to ascend, we catch it at the bottom, right? So when it decays, but then it starts to bounce and show signs of upward pattern. Let's say I'm able to capture this from $58 and sell not even at 70, but let's say 65. That potential for profit is about almost 12%, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a little bit over 12%. So 12% potential for profit for something that's actively trending up and which pattern I understand, rather than trading something like TOPS, which I don't understand, that's easily manipulated because of the volume and all of this marketing that's behind that company and all these pump and dumps. Again, understand the patterns that you invest in and not based on what other people are telling you. So that is my breakdown for the top 3 stocks. And Dylan DeLatter is saying, Chuck Norris takes his trading advice from Ricky. That is not true. No one, should be trading based on other people's opinion. Michael's saying he hates tops. I don't hate it. I just think I could use that as a really solid example of why you should avoid pump and dumps and strong descending patterns. So Ricky, I just want to thank you for your program. As far as the best and worth every cent. It has paid for itself so many times over. And oh wait, you are a wizard. What's going on? Thank you again. Love having you as a part of the team. Again, it's the first link in the description. If you guys like the way that I break things down, and if you guys find it simple and effective and easy to understand and truly want to understand everything that the stock market has to offer, then click that first link in the description. Just 5 seconds, 10 seconds, learn more about what me and the private group have to offer. It's not just a course, but I work with this group every single day. You get to speak to me over our private group chat, and you get to ask me questions and use me as a reference and pass a stock that you might want to invest in, and I get to share my idea with you on what I think about that. So, oh my goodness, no one is that tall without superpowers. If you guys could guess right now in the chat, how tall do you think I am? A lot of people, when I meet them in person, don't know how tall I am. Right now, I'm going to be looking at a couple stocks that people are shouting out, but how tall do you think I am? Great high-speed breakdown. Thank you, Storm. Ron Moores loves LPP. I like that. I like that. So we got 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", 5'7", 6'4", 6'7", 6'5", 6'4". Ooh, 5'12". That's funny. 6'11". Oh, there we go. 6'1". So we got a couple people that guessed it. So I'm actually I'm 6'4", 6'5", depending on what shoes I'm wearing, right? But yeah, I think I'm actually 6'4", but with shoes I'm about 6'5". So yeah, people don't usually expect that because of like my cars and stuff like that. That I'm so big and I fit in all these small cars. Oh, what's going on, Zeke? Thank you for the donation. You guys definitely 100% do not have to donate. Your view and your time itself is more more than enough. So you guys got it. So Ricky, help me. I just joined the LPP, but can't join the group chat on Discord. So if you just joined LPP, in the first section of the course, there is a link that guides you on over to our private group chat. It's the first link in the course. So the first section, there's a red link. It should be red. But yeah, just click on that. I want to be tall. Okay, so we got our first DD. So S. Soraro is saying, I looked at MU, did my own DD, but can I have your opinion, please? Of course. Thank you for asking so kindly. MU, right? Okay, so I was actually asked this. So this is Micron Technologies, and it was showing signs of this continuous uptrend pattern. That's great, right? But do you see how it's really starting to consolidate at $60? And just ask yourself. So just make sense of these overall patterns. Do you really think that this thing is going to continue to push up realistically? Based off previous patterns, has it showed a time that it's peaked out and then that it continues to peak out, especially when it's pushed up so aggressively? Most likely not. Showing signs of a really solid peak formation here at around $60, a lot of consolidation. It might continue to trend up, but with its earnings report coming up, huge red flag, it is definitely more on the overbought side, and it would make sense on why this thing would pull back and bounce on this SMA line, which is where I would see more of a good buy, because we're investing in something that's actively trending up, but we're buying when it's on sale. As long as it continues this uptrend pattern, it holds above the SMA indicator, or we wait for it to sell off and then come back up and break above the SMA indicator, so be it. But again, it does look way more on the overbought side. Are you getting it for a deal? Well, look, when's the last time that it's been $60.58? Maybe the past week, but other than that, it's never been this high. Does that sound like a good deal? No. So great call out. I like the overall ascending uptrend pattern. Let's note that this is overbought, right, with the RSI indicator, so it's not a good deal. Let's wait potentially for a sell-off, especially during its earnings, even if it does hit its earnings. But because it's so overbought, I've seen multiple companies that hit its earnings, but because it's so overbought or overpriced, that its guidance might be a little bit off, and you'll see a huge sell-off. I actually really like this pattern, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert, once MU starts trending down, so I could buy it or just revisit this for a potential good deal. So I also want to see if, all of a sudden, if for whatever reason, its earnings and overall guidance is so good that it starts, to really act as a catalyst to drive the price up, then I want to be alerted as well. So I got an alert if it breaks above $64, and I have an alert if it breaks below 52. Simple. There we go. Buy when on sales is Ricky's style. I like that. That is true. Unfortunately, Cane's never goes on sale, so I always have to buy it full price. But just a little, what's it called? Just something to show you guys. Like, you guys think that, like, or a lot of people, for those that don't know who it is that I am, for those that don't know who it is that I am, you guys might see my cars. I have a McLaren, I have a GTR, I have an M3 and stuff like that. And I obviously I do well, right, for myself. But one thing that you guys should know about me is that I'm very frugal, and that the reason that I am where I am today is because I would save all my money and I don't spend my money in useless stuff. All the cars that I have, I buy to resell for a profit. Everything that is that I spend money on that's somewhat expensive, like my property or something like that, it's all to make money on. When it comes down to overall expenses, I probably spend less now than spend about $1,500 a month, which realistically for someone within my age and what it is that I do, it's really a small fraction. That's one of the biggest recommendations that I can have. I went to Cane's today and I got the 3-piece combo but did not get a drink. It saves me like 85 cents, and the reason that I did that is because I have soda at home. So just because you make good money, again, there should always be a cushion or a margin on the amount of money you make and the amount of money that you spend. Even if you start to make more money, there should always be a margin. That margin should continue to get larger, so you could save more, so when an opportunity presents itself, and because you understand how to invest, you can then take advantage of that opportunity. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you. Saving money is great, and especially if you can save, so when an opportunity presents itself and it's so great, you get a good deal, then that you can invest in that and even make more money. So what's going on, Muhad? I like that. Let's see. Man, the tickers are moving too quickly. So we got, let's do ticker symbol Jill. I think I've broken that one down before. So do you see this? This is not something that this is exactly the opposite of what I would want to invest in. This is a really strong descending pattern, and although it is showing signs of a potential upside potential, it's been descending so aggressively that this is just not something that I would want to touch myself. It does show potential. I have an alert here set at $5, so I've obviously visited this before. The reason at $5 is because that was its old support level. So maybe if it breaks above $5, we could see a cup and handle formation. But even since we've found out about this one, it's been continuously trending down. This is not something that I would potentially want to invest in. I think the other one that you had was TROV. Again, very strong descending pattern. I'm not about that at all. So SMA indicator is trying to act as a support level, but based off previous patterns, even sometimes when it does break above the SMA indicator, it still doesn't hold very well. And it's too low of a cap stock for me because of my overall position size. So I would have to say no, in my opinion. UVXY. I think I have that one in my watch list. UVXY. Strong descending pattern. It is showing signs, or it was showing signs of potential reversal, but it looks like it just got a huge rush of volume, and now it's actively trending down below the SMA and the EMA. I would say I'm out. Do you see the strong descending pattern? If you were to show this, right, it continues to make lower lows, and it continues to break support levels. Not something that I want to be a part of. DRN, let's actually visit this one. This one's actually pretty exciting. DRN had a huge sell-off, so this is another form of this is another type of ETF, so I would look into it. Its inverse ETF is DRV, so if you're not making money on one, then maybe you can invest in the other. But DRV was absolutely killing it. It was showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern, peaked at about $15, and guess what? Just like everything that goes up must come down, right? And now it's starting to decay. It's starting to show signs of a strong downward pattern. Where might it bounce? Well, it might bounce here, where that SMA indicator is at. So right around that $12.50 price point. So that means that DRN still has a little bit of potential to continue to trend up. And as you can see, the SMA indicator is starting to catch up right around that like $19 price point, most likely, if it continues at this rate and continues to trend up. Great thing, it broke above $17, and now it offers this margin from about, like, I would say $18.50. So $18.50, so about 8.67% potential for profit if it continues to show signs of uptrend and hold above $17. That's huge. Again, how do you know when something is actively trending up? EMA indicator on the 180-day chart, if it continues to hold above that, and if it continues to break resistance levels and hold up and not break support levels. That's signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. So great call out. It offers a pretty decent amount percent potential for profit, but just keep into consideration that, although it is actively trending up, SMA indicator might act as a resistance, but 100% we don't know that. It just, based off previous patterns, it has been acting as a resistance. And then DRV is showing signs of a descending pattern until hopefully it bounces at around 1250 if it validates that SMA indicator. So yeah, great call out. So big. All right, let's break that one down real quick. So big, huge sell-off, strong descending pattern, not something that I would want to take advantage of. I would set alerts for it to potentially break. It's been continuously getting rejected by that 180-day EMA. Maybe set our alerts at $48. It is definitely more on the oversold side now. So maybe we can get it for a deal, but it was showing signs of an uptrend. It just, this is Big Lots. I'm not a huge fan of them. Very irrelevant company, especially here within the United States, and I think from where it stands at right now. So I think the sell-off is just really showing how, if you do choose to invest in this one, just know that it probably isn't going to be the best swing trade. I don't see Big Lots going to be doing very well much later. SED, strong descending pattern, is actively trending up. It's definitely more on the overbought side. I'm not feeling it. I think it needs to pull back. It is pretty volatile also, and it looks like it has pretty low volume. Volume isn't that bad. 180-day chart, I would wait a little bit more for a sell-off closer to the SMA indicator. As you can see, when it was actively trending down, it would get really close to the SMA indicator and then get rejected. Same thing is going to happen here. It's pushing up. That's great. As you can see, the volume has been much more present recently. Don't fall into the hype. Understand the pattern, look at the volume, and as you can see, it definitely pushed up, but once that volume dies out, it's going to start pulling back again. And that's not something that I want to be a part of. And then that's when I see that SEED is going to most likely continue trending down. ENPH. He's asking if it's overbought. Yes. You see this SMA indicator? Way overbought. You see this pattern? Pushes up above the SMA indicator. Again, everything that goes up must come down, consolidates, pushes up again. Way overbought. It's going to pull back, consolidate, and then push up again, make new highs. Nice ascending uptrend pattern, but let's get it when it's a deal. All right. FLL. Let's end it there. So FLL, showing signs of a pretty solid ascending uptrend pattern. It did get rejected. It started showing signs of a downward pattern, really starting to consolidate. And it's still holding below. It's showing more of a peak formation with this SMA indicator. We would have to break above it for me to really feel comfortable for a full-on swing trade. Full House Resorts. Never heard of them. So I'm going to set my alert here. And then we can revisit this one when it becomes more relevant to the patterns that I like to invest in. It's not much. It's about maybe 20 cents more. And let's see if it actually ends up covering it. But yeah, it's showing signs of a potential cup pattern. And let's see if it can continue to make new highs. So one thing that I did want to talk about, and it's this pattern. I was hanging out with Ferris. If you guys are part of our TechBud Solutions group, Ferris is an active member and one of the mods that we have within TechBud Solutions. He's very knowledgeable when it comes down to shorting stocks and overall momentum stocks, and he's pretty involved in the crypto space as well. And One thing that we talked about was Tesla. Tesla, when it dips down to $300, I always like to buy, right? As it sells off to 300, it's a pretty solid support level based off previous patterns. And we've called this one out twice. And the reason that we called it out twice was because of it hitting 300. So again, we buy when it's a good deal, and we know that 340 to 360 is most likely going to be a resistance. But look at this previous pattern. It bounced at 300. It started to show signs of a lot of consolidation, right, at 360. And this time that it bounced at 320, it pushed up but could not hit 360, so it's making lower highs. So this descending pattern, do you see this? And also, do you see that this EMA, it's not holding below the EMA indicator? It's showing signs of a potential downward pattern. So where do I think it's going to sell off to? I think it might sell off to 300, and then from 300, I think we might get a bounce at around 320 to maybe 330, and then I think it's going to continue to trend down. I think that Tesla is showing very strong signs of a bear pattern. Based off of the previous patterns that we see here, here it was showing signs of this upward staircase pattern. Not anymore. It showed the sign of an overall peak formation, a strong downward pattern, and I think that it can break 300 and then continue to sell off. But how cool would this be? Look at this margin of profit. From 300, this bear pattern might outweigh what I really want to do, and that's be able to sell it at 340. Because of the 12 to 13% potential for profit. But let's say I could sell at 330, right? From the buys of 300 to the sells at 330, that's about 10% potential for profit. Let's say with the stock itself of Tesla, how cool would it be that when Tesla sells off, I have my alert set, I take a $50,000 position at 300 for Tesla when it starts to confirm its uptrend pattern. So again, still sticking to the very foundations of and concept of trading. But then I sell close to, hopefully at 330, if I can cover that, 10% margins, that's a $5,000 profit margin, or margin for potential profit, and then I use the $5,000 to pre-order a Tesla. How funny would that be, to be able to buy a Tesla with the profits I make off of the actual stock itself? I think that would be pretty funny. I think that would make for a great video and just overall experience on how I was thinking about doing this for like GNC. I was thinking about doing this for like Amazon. I was thinking about doing this for Ford, but I don't want a Ford. I don't buy vitamins or anything from GNC. So I feel like this would be the most relevant to us because I could profit off of this and then use those profits to actually reinvest into Tesla, or at least a car. So let me know what you guys think about that idea. And yeah, so we have a funny comment going on right now. Let's see. Ricky, you should do a video on how you survive off of minimal sleep. Yeah, so I love what it is that I do. So the reason that I think that I can do so well with very little sleep that I get is because every single day I get to do what it is that I love, and that's trading. That's part of it. But I get to surround myself with a bunch of not just online, because that's one thing, right? I get to speak to my group, which is an amazing experience. So I get to speak to my private group. I jump on a call, and every single time that we end the Learn Plan Profit voice chat, everyone says, "Thank you again, Ricky, so much." It's just so welcoming. It's such an amazing environment, and that's great. I get to jump into the voice chat for the Technical Solutions group from time to time, and everyone's just so appreciative of my time, as well as I am so appreciative of your time and you deciding to be a part of my group. But the thing that I love most is that not only online, but the people that I surround myself with, that I live with, so my roommates and stuff like that, I tend to work with each roommate with different projects. They benefit me and I benefit them. And that's, again, not only surround yourself and network with people that you want to be like, but also surround yourself physically with people that motivate you. And that's my team, and that's what it is that I love. So I told you guys right away that when I came back from my trip from Mexico, we went there for spring break, and spring break was fun and all, but for me to be able to come home and have this blessing of this like lifestyle that I do, it's just amazing that I'm able to make money off of investing money. So my money makes me money, and it's a skill, and it's a just a quality that I have because of my understanding of how to invest, that with money I get to make more money. And I think that's an amazing thing that I hope each and every single one of you gets to learn, right? Because it's a trait, it's a habit, right? You learn how to make money from money, and these habits are not natural born habits. You learn them, but it's from repetition and understanding the market, and that's why I created the Learn Plan Profit course. It's just like Albert Einstein said, and I'll say it again. It's the eighth wonder of the world is the power of compounding interest, and that's our core focus in Learn Plan Profit. Continuously growing your account and making sure that you understand what it is that you're investing in, and following patterns that make sense to you and doesn't have to make sense to others. So that's it. That's me, and that's who it is that I am, and that's how I survive with very little sleep. People always ask me, so how is it that what is it that I do for fun other than work? I sleep. Sleep is one of the funnest things that I get to do because I love sleeping. I just don't get enough of it. Can you guys see my bags? um, That's so funny. Ricky gets the same amount of sleep as long as it takes to charge up an iPhone. That is hilarious. Yeah, I feel. I mean, I get like 4 to maybe 6 hours, 6 hours on the high end. So I don't. It's not that I like. Yeah, it's been pretty bad recently. I get about 4 to 5 hours of sleep, but yeah. So Rafa, I'm not doing any more due diligence right now. So I do apologize for that. Message me within the TechBud Solutions Discord chat, and you can direct message me, and I'll do a due diligence for you. But walking zombie, I love it. Thank you guys again. So that is pretty much it, guys. I just want to remind you that we have this week of opportunities that is coming up, right? We have a new week, new opportunities. Learn from what happened last week. Let those be best practices and mistakes and lessons learned. But this upcoming week, do a number of things that you could do better this week. Plan out your trades, stay very micro focused, and take advantage of opportunity when you see value in it. If you don't, one of the best positions that you can take is not one at all. So I would much rather end the week the way that I started it rather than ending it red. So how is the stock that you're going to take or the investment position that you're going to take going to benefit you in 10 days, 10 months, 10 years? Ask yourself, not just living in the moment, but also thinking about big term, how every single position is going to benefit you and your career as an investor. And I hope that you guys have an amazing week. I hope that you guys, make lots of money, but I also hope that you guys learn a lot. So thank you guys again for everything that is that you guys do. We have someone asking, Servid Games is asking, can I get a discount for the Learn Plan Profit course? So again, that's the first link in the description, and we'll activate I feel like I activate the coupons way too much. So coupon code for all those that have joined us and stayed with us for about 1 hour. Yeah, so we're at 52 minutes. Okay, so coupon code, just like always, it's going to be coupon BOOM, BOOM. So click that first link in the description. Make sure at the checkout page you click add coupon and use promo code BOOM. I do want to let you guys know that if you do use a coupon, there is no refund available. So we do have a refund policy, but if you use a coupon, I want to be completely transparent. You do not get a refund if you use a coupon. That's I want to make sure that that's out there. Before you purchase anything, be sure to do your own due diligence. The coupon will be active until the end of today, so Sunday, and you guys can click the first link, invest 30 seconds to 1 minute, and see what the course has to offer, the structured step-by-step process of everything that you need to know that I know about the market. And then when it comes down to the private group, make sure as soon as you enroll in the course, make sure in the first section of the course, there's going to be a link to our private group chat to join, because I will be speaking to you and so excited for this week and everyone else that's part of our group and talking about the top stocks that we see value in every single day at market open for about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long it goes. So thank you guys again so much. Again, all the information is shared in the links. You guys can check the description, and there's a couple links there. Feel free to look around. But you guys can see all the people that are commenting right now, so you guys could, right here, you can see that there's honest reviews of the course, the Learn Plan Profit Lesson Library. It's an amazing community. It's information that I share that I don't think the concept themselves is only vital to or just solely focused for the stock market, but I use the same concept for buying and reselling houses. I use the same concept for buying and reselling cars. So I try to provide as much value as I can. But again, if you're someone that wants to be spoon-fed, or if you're someone that wants to be told what to do, this is not going to be the group for you. But if you're someone that wants to work hard and is willing to dedicate the time that is needed to be successful in this market, then I know that I can be a catalyst for your success. I truly believe that. So like we always do, okay, Google, play. It's called New Song Sunday. I actually don't know what this song is. I think I might have been listening to it. Oh, I like this. One quick fact about me, for those that don't know, people think that because I'm like kind of goofy and nerdy, when I talk to like some girls, they think like I'm into like Beethoven or something like that because they think I'm so formal. I listen to like rap or music like this or whatever's popular. So if you guys thought that I listen to like super fancy music, No, I feel like I'm pretty gangster. No, don't you guys think? I feel like I'm pretty. No? Okay. So hope you guys all have an amazing Sunday. Again, guys, continue working hard, continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives in your success. And I hope that you guys all have an amazing Sunday. Hope you guys all have a blessed week. And like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.